I genuinely am so happy to be this way because look how many options I have on the people who I get to love. I know it gets better. Hi everyone, my name is Kariselle. I am the reigning Miss New Jersey, United States of 2020. I use she, her pronouns, and I identify as bisexual/pansexual. Growing up was definitely a challenge. I knew that I was queer my whole life. I never once thought that I could be heterosexual for as long as I can remember, which was definitely very difficult because I grew up in a very conservative small town where you're expected to be a certain way, act a certain way, be a certain type of person. And one moment in particular I remember was I was a cheerleader in high school and it was my very first year on the team, and one of the older kids made a joke saying, "Oh my gosh, could you imagine if there was a lesbian on the cheerleading team, or if there were two lesbians and they were dating? I would feel so uncomfortable." And in that moment, I felt so sick to my stomach and I felt so singled out. And I just knew that I was not ready to come out to my team or in high school until I graduated. I attempted to first come out when I was 13, when I had my first girlfriend, but then it did get a little too overwhelming for me. There were times when I would jump in and out of the closet for maybe 10 years. It was really hard because there would be some days where I felt so strong and I felt like, yes, this is me. I have to be myself. I have to be true to myself. And then there were other days where I was just like, I cannot do this right now. I'm afraid of what other people are gonna think of me, what they're gonna say about me. I was afraid that it would affect my future. The first person I came out to was probably my first boyfriend. I had explained that I identified as an LGBTQ plus individual, that I felt like I liked girls, boys, and every other gender. He was very supportive. He never judged me and he created such a safe zone for me. That was a really big deal because that was someone I was dating. I was so afraid that he would think that I wasn't the same person that he had met or he had fallen in love with. So for him to still support me and to not think any differently of me really helps me a lot in realizing, like, okay, if someone who loves me so much can still think exactly the same of me now that he knows that I like all genders, then anybody can. I got into the pageant scene a little later in life, and the reason why I wanted to get into pageantry is because as a fan of pageants and being way too scared to even pursue pageants myself, I wanted to show the LGBTQ plus community that being a pageant queen and the beauty standard does not mean heterosexual or cisgendered. I really wanted to make a statement by showing that I can be queer and I cannot meet the standards of a heterosexual queen and I can still rock it and I can still win it. A lot of times when we're queer, we feel like there's certain things that we can't partake in because we never see people like us, and that's really what I'm fighting for, and that's a big part of my platform, is embracing that representation and fighting for that representation. It got better for me when I started loving myself in all that I am, including my sexuality. I look back at my life and I'm like, wow, look how many cool things I got to do as somebody who was completely out of the closet. I know what it's like to be there. I've been there so many times. I've been there, came out, ran right back in the closet, and been there again. It's hard. It really is. But, you know, overcoming things in life makes you such a better person. It really does. And once you truly believe that there's nothing wrong with who you are, and you accept yourself and you love yourself, it really does get better. I am Miss New Jersey, United States 2020, and I'm here to tell you that it gets better.